Hi everybody, I'm Greg Fishel. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the tropical storm down near the Yucatan Peninsula. It is pronounced Idalia, and it is a tropical storm. It's sort of loitering right now in the same location, just sort of spinning its wheels, but every indication is that later tonight, and especially tomorrow and Tuesday, it'll start to move definitively toward the north and east and begin to have a faster forward motion. And this has the chance, about a 1 in 4 chance, of becoming a major hurricane before it makes landfall along the Gulf Coast of Florida, up in that little nook, more than likely in that area, area just, I guess you'd say, on the eastern end of the Florida Panhandle. There are a couple of things, there's actually 3 things that I wanted to make very clear just in case. I don't know that any bad information is out there, but there usually is somewhere if you look hard enough. So just in case that's getting out, I wanted to make 3 things real clear. Number 1, the primary landfall, no matter how strong this thing gets, is going to be along the Florida coast, the Gulf Coast, and not the southeast coast of the United States. This is not a Hugo coming in from the east unimpeded with no land in the way, okay? Number 2, unlike Ian last year, that crossed Florida, got out over the open waters of the Atlantic, and then hooked back toward the north and northwest and made landfall around Georgetown, South Carolina, the chance of that happening is about as close to this as possible. The reason being that in the upper atmosphere, you've got a trough, very well-defined trough, and very strong winds aloft coming from the southwest to northeast. The steering currents with Ian were a lot weaker, but in this situation, it is going to either, come up parallel to the coast, either just inland, right along the coast, or perhaps even stay offshore, but it's not going to hook back, okay? Once it begins that southwest to northeast acceleration, then that's not going to stop, and eventually it's going to carry it out to sea. The third thing I want to point out is that it is not a guarantee that our part of North Carolina, around the Triangle area, is going to get a ton of rain from this. We could, especially if the track is just inland, then there could be several inches of rain and flooding potential and all of that. But if it stays right along the coast or perhaps just offshore, then there's going to be a tremendous gradient of rainfall amounts from northwest to southeast. If you're up around Roxborough, you may never see a drop from this storm, okay? Whereas if you're down around Clinton or Elizabethtown, some places like that, you could get a whole ton of it, all right? And the rain that we're going to get, for the next few days, from now through Wednesday, we've been talking about that for days. That has nothing to do with this tropical storm whatsoever, okay? That's due to a frontal zone and a trough in the upper atmosphere to our west, and the interaction of those two producing widespread showers and thunderstorms. But it has nothing to do with Idalia at all. And if we get rain from Idalia, no matter how much we get, it's going to be Thursday and Thursday night, and then things should dry out on a Friday. In fact, we actually have a chance of having a delightful air mass move in here on the heels of this thing, with cooler temperatures and lower humidity. So something to hope for post-Idalia. Anyways, I just wanted to make those things clear. I am going to be doing more frequent updates on this, obviously, because there still is a chance that it could have an impact along the North Carolina coast. In fact, I also need to point out that with Hurricane Franklin, even though it's several hundred miles offshore and not coming here, as I mentioned last week, there could be some dangerous rough surf, rip currents in association with that over the next few days. So if you're down at the beach or heading down to the beach, keep that in mind. And remember, if you get caught in one of these rip currents, do not fight it, okay? What you want to do is move perpendicular to that current that's trying to pull you out to sea, and that's your best chance of getting out of it, okay? But if you try to fight it directly, if it's pulling you this way and you're trying to fight this way, you ain't going to win that battle, okay? And that's when terrible things happen. So just be aware of that if you're down at the coast or you're going to be heading in that direction over the next few days. It doesn't look like a terribly pretty weather pattern, but if you do happen to get into the ocean, just keep that in mind. All right, that's it for now, folks. We'll, again, have frequent updates over the coming days. Hope you have a great Sunday evening, and we'll talk to you again sometime tomorrow. Take care.